different region. So we are here at Oslo meetup, Milsoft meetup. So today agenda is like first we will discuss about the chat GPT, and after that we'll discuss more about the OpenAI and what are the features that is available in the OpenAI API, and we'll build one chat GPT connector. I'll show high level demonstration of how we need to implement our custom connectors, and finally we have a interesting demo like we use this ChatGPT custom connector and we'll integrate the Microsoft Teams using some graph service API that's provided by Microsoft. And that's all about the agenda that we are going to things. And yeah, this is our meetup leaders, Ravi Tamada, and he's working as a senior architect in Capgemini, and Karti Rajmani, he's the director principal for the head of API integration for Capgemini. Yeah, this is all about my meetup leaders for the Oslo group. And so I'm going to tell about the safe harbor statement. Both the speaker and host are organizing this meetup in individual capacity only. We are not representing our companies here. This presentation is strictly for learning purpose only. Organizer and presenter don't hold any responsibility. That come same solution will work for your business requirement also. This presentation is not meant for any promotional activities. And finally, this meeting is will be recorded and will be shared across our meetup page. So yeah, that's about this statement. And myself, I'm Sai Krishna, currently working as a senior software engineer at Convergy. Yeah, this is all about uh, so what is like ChatGPT? ChatGPT is basically it will work as a natural language processing is NLP programming model. So it is previously it's a instructor led GPT, and after that they're implemented it advanced with the ChatGPT. And so basically the ChatGPT works with the training of huge amount of data that is available across different journals, books, and articles, and data is available in the internet. So they will train some data with so a lot of models, and they will use like neural network architecture to build these models. So there are different type of models available in ChatGPT. So we'll discuss what all and how can we leverage which using these things in our building our own custom applications. So as we are a technical people, we'll interested for more on the API world. So luckily, like OpenAI is they're giving their REST API for us. So we can take that REST API and we can build some custom applications or custom integrations we can do with using that API. So these are the high level overview of models. So basically, we came across the what is model in the Chat GPT and OpenAI. So model is basically it's a set of rules to take the data like from the different type of sets. So there are different type of models available in OpenAI in ChatGPT things. So basically there are based on your model. So it will backend there is a trained algorithms is used to retrieve the data. It will revolve around that model to give the with respect to the particular model, you'll get the type of data will be revolve around that model. So ChatGPT 4 is the latest model that is released by OpenAI. Previously, it's ChatGPT 3.4, and these are different models. So you come across like ChatGPT is revolving around all models, all different areas. It's not about the text to prompt and all. Now it's going with audios, edit images, and different type of things. So these are the models they're using background. So DALI is using for the images world. Images, if you want to work around with ChatGPT, so they use we need to use DALI, and Whisper is for the audios. So if you want to translate from audios to text or some like transcriptions and so those type of things. So if you want to work around the audios, you need to use Whisper. Embeddings is mostly useful for the vector image point floating point. So basically this is used for the high level machine learning techniques. Codex models is used to generate the code. Like if you want to write the any code, now you see in the chat gpt you are asking some code, so it is generating code. So how it is generating? So backend they're using codex model. So that particular things is pointing to the codex. So I'll discuss what is codex. Moderation is like it's like So this is like basically if you want to see the particular sentence or anything is like harmful, or what type of criteria the translations is going on, is it like sensitive, like is it like harmful. So I'll discuss all those things. So this is like ChatGPT 4. Now if you work with ChatGPT, people should see the difference between ChatGPT 3 and ChatGPT 4, because ChatGPT 4 is the latest model. So what is the difference between ChatGPT 3 and ChatGPT 4? So ChatGPT is 3 is will the only one way of communication. You give the text prompt, so it will process and yield the output. But ChatGPT 4 is like multi-form format. So you can give input as three modes: audios, videos, and text. So that's what now latest model is giving. So that's why they're going with the subscription model. So ChatGPT 4 is the latest. You can give anything. So so now you see all the models are ChatGPT that is working around the. Not one thing we need to keep is like it is not the latest updated data that you will release, like you will receive in the internet, because they train the data up to the data set which is available on that model. So if you see ChatGPT 4 will give the results that is the latest to September 2021. If you want to search the latest information, ChatGPT cannot able to give, because it's already trained the data with the up to the September 20. So same thing, every model will will take some data from all over the internet or some articles, books, and they'll train the data. So that's what you'll. So if you want to search anything latest, so ChatGPT will not provide, because it's already trained. So with the latest data that is available in that particular model. So September 2021 is the latest data you'll get in it all ChatGPT 4. So tokens, I'll tell what is tokens. So because all ChatGPT world is working on the tokens, so I'll showcase what is tokens, because you should know what is the tokens and what is the correlation between the ChatGPT OpenAI with the tokens, because all the models was developed with the tokens. ChatGPT 3, these are the models. So ChatGPT 3.4 Turbo is the latest model in the ChatGPT 3. And these are the models. If you use this model, you will get the data that is giving by that model with respect to the model that is trained with the data. So tokens is like maximum token will give that particular. Tokens is like set of characters you'll receive, and is a combination of words. It will generate the number of tokens. I'll show in the live demo like what is the tokens. So because if you want to see the comparison tools between like which model is, because end of the day it's all the performance. So how which model is giving the like data which is a fast and which is like redundancy and all the things is coming on the performance. So if you want to see, I'm searching this data input and getting output in both models, ChatGPT 3 and 4 are in the ChatGPT 3. In the 3 in that versions is 3.4, but I need to see uh, what is the like performance which is giving the most. So if you want to see, you need to use this comparison tool. So I'll showcase. So these are the models you need to see. So this is the model. So so you need to give input, you need to select the API key and give the output. So it will generate the model, which model you are finding. It will generate the like download format and performance and all the information related to that model. So you can check it the performance using this tool, comparison tool. And one more thing, if you want to see the latest informations that is going on to releasing the chat GPT, because if you want to closely work on the chat GPT, if you want to see the latest releases notes, so you can use this listeners page. So in this they will give the latest version, so you can go and check around the latest things. So I'm putting in the chart. If you people work with like interested to learn some chat GPT, you can try it. So and coming to our part, so this is all things. So codex, so as we told, codex model basically works with the because they train the data with lot of billions of code that is available in the GitHub, and they develop the codex model. So these are the languages that is supported by codex model: Python, Shift, TypeScript, SQL, Parallel, PHP. These are the models, and So backend, we need to point codecs, like if you want to implement custom applications using ChatGPT, using that API. These are the models you need to use it: codex devancy 002 and Kushman 001. These are the models. So because as I told, every model will have set of data developed by their algorithms and NLP structure for like NLP architecture. So if you want to work around the APIs, you go to your account and view API keys, and you need to generate the key. So that's the only way of connecting through that API. You need not do any of the security things. So you just go and create the API key. So so there are different type of endpoints available in the ChatGPT. So create completion is like you give input, like ChatGPT will take it and will process your input, and it will give the output. So it's like one-to-one communication. So if you want to communicate, and there is one more thing, chart completion. I'll showcase in the live demo, because what's the difference between create completion endpoint and the chart completion. So tokenizers, so as I told, so tokenizers is basically so every chat gpt model is works around the token model, because token is basically just I'm Oslo MuleSoft meetup. So basically, see, for this text that is giving by ChatGPT, they're consuming 7 tokens from that model. So if you're retrieving some information using ChatGPT, so they're calculating your data that is taken by the ChatGPT using tokens. So you say so much of information, your tokens will consume. Then you need to go take in subscription, like a higher subscription. So that's the model they are developed. So ChatGPT is not like a subscription by monthly or something like yearly subscription or not. So they're developed the things based on the tokens. So if you want to consume or use the ChatGPT, now they're already started with ChatGPT for the subscription model. So if you want, like, your trail account is completed, then you need to upgrade the thing. So how we need to upgrade our tokens? So like 100 tokens or 1,000 tokens you need to purchase, and so based on your usage, so your tokens will consume. So this is how this combination of characters, so they will calculate the tokens. So this is how tokens will work. So tokens is the main thing. So that's all OpenAI model will work around. So if you are consuming more tokens, means you are using more data, then you need to have the correlation between your usage and the tokens. So so that's all about the thing. Chart completion, so these things are both similar, but what's the difference between create completion and chart GPT, chart completion? These are two different endpoints. So I'll show what is difference, because what you see in the UI screen of chart GPT and in the screen, it's all pointing to the chart completion or the create completion, because I'll showcase the things in the live, because that will be easy to understand. So embeddings is like it is converting the word into the floating vector point, because so it's like in the machine learning techniques. So if you want to search the word in the millions of data that is available, so it will basically, it's a tricky concept, embedding. So because it's using the machine learning techniques, so that's how, so we can use these embedding techniques, because they will convert the word, whatever the word you are provided, into the vector image point. So using that mathematical calculations, so they will do all this performance, like operations search, because if you want to search the any query string, because this is using like example, like if you want to, like Amazon has the lot of reviews available in the e-commerce website. So they need to see the how many stars that is getting for that particular product, like 1 stars, 2 stars, 3 stars. They use like backend machine learning techniques using this embeddings to convert the text formats into the digital floating points. So that's all we use in the machine learning techniques, this particular endpoint. So now comes to our part. So now we need to develop our own custom connector. So because now we don't have any custom connector available in the like MuleSoft as of now, they didn't release any chat gpt connector. So but we can do our custom connector implementation. People who are doesn't have any idea about our implementation of custom connectors, so I'll showcase what is the process and what is the template and following steps we need to follow to implement our own custom connector. So I have built this ChatGPT connector. You can use it. I'll show it because after that I'll share the code and all these things. So these are the things, because basically so these are the endpoints that is provided by APA. So chart completion, completion and edits, audio transcriptions, audio translations, fine tunes, embeddings. These are different models, different endpoints, and with that endpoint, these are the set of models that is giving by that particular endpoint. If you are using this endpoint, that API endpoint, you need to provide input as this model. As I told, every endpoint, like every model will give the set of rules backend with that particular model, and you it will get our desired data output based on that model you are giving. So this is all. I'll showcase the connector, custom XML SDK connector. And meanwhile, if you have any questions, you can ask it, because feel free to ask it in interactive session, because you can ask any doubt you have in, so I can happily answer your questions. Custom XML SDK, because MuleSoft is provided with custom XML SDK. So people who doesn't know about the custom XML SDK. So we have like in MuleSoft, this well documentation is provided in that MuleSoft documentation. So basically you see any connectors that is working on our projects in MuleSoft, what is the basically connectors is doing. So any connectors we are using is basically invoking the external system. So the connectors what you're using, so it basically invoking or connecting to the external system. So that's how the connectors is doing. So it's not doing any other thing. So what are the connectors you do? So it will invoke the external system like Salesforce or any SAP system or any database or any file. They will do the connectors will do it will reduce your job to connect to the external system or invoking the external system. So same thing. So we have a ChatGPT already, system is already there. Now we need to build that like in between that connector to integrate those all the invocation of the system of ChatGPT in our MuleSoft flow. So there are steps to implement to chart XML SDK. First thing is like you need to add your profiles under your profiles. So under your profiles in .m2 repository in our settings.xml, you need to add this profile section. You should not add any other profile. So this is already given by MuleSoft profile thing. So you need to add it. I'll paste in the chart, but you can take it from the MuleSoft documentation. So once you add in our settings.xml, and you can execute this command. So I'll show it what are the things, how to execute the commands. And these are the features that are in the XML SDK. So operation, module, and input parameters and body. So I'll showcase what are the things in that detail. So I'll showcase the steps. So comes to the part. So first thing is like profiles. So this is the profile. You need to add it. I'm just putting in the chart, but you can take it in the documentation. You go users. Now I'm just starting my our connector to how what are the steps you need to you need to follow to implement your own custom connectors. You go .m2 in your root file, go to settings.xml, and under that you will have a so just paste that profiles here. So what are the profile you are copying? Just I pasted, just made it paste it here. So once you put in the settings.xml, you need to run the command. So the command is this is a maven command. You need to run it. So it's like maven archetype generate. So group ID is like you should not change your MuleSoft group ID. So this is basically so MuleSoft will give that template file. So high level template file is like a skeleton of to develop your own custom connector. And this is the template you need to download from the MuleSoft repos. So this is a so arc.mule.extension archetype mule extension XML archetype. You should not change these things, and archetype version you should not change. And so here you should change your group ID. So where you will go ahead on our organization ID. So you go our exchange in our anypoint platform, you can able to find our group ID. And archetype is like you can give your own custom name for that implementation of that connector. So I'm just giving ChatGPT group ID artifact ID of your own custom name, and, and mule connector name, just ChatGPT, just copy it wherever folder. If you want to download, just go it uh, any folder like the template I need to download first. So just I'm downloading from here. So just create one folder and command cmd command and uh, and just run it. So basically now I'm downloading the template from the MuleSoft site. Level template, so it will don't have anything, it will give the basic template. So then you need to import it. So it will ask the prompt like extension, yeah, why, and just give it. So now it is downloaded. So ChatGPT is this is basically, so you need to import it. So in our project file import, just import the this is basically give the colon, just remove it. Colon does not allow to import, just finish it. So now you see what is there in the custom so just so one thing we need to keep in mind is like custom implementation connectors doesn't give any flows. Like you cannot develop flows here, so you need to write purely code to implement our connector. So MuleSoft doesn't give here allow to generate any flows here. So if you want to implement any logic, you need to implement your logic in the custom level. So these are the things. So they will give src main resource, these are the root file. So under that they'll give xml. So these are the templates. So under that we need to start building our code, all logic that is there in our logic. So and we have the pom.xml, and that's it. You don't have anything. You should write all this logic and manual with the hands on you need to write. So I'll show the chat gpt connector what I've implemented. So logic what I've done. So go src means same thing, the template just I imported, not here. This is the connector chat gpt module hello. So you can change it the your own custom name, but if you want to change this module hyphen chat gpt or your organization something name, you need to give the prefix here. So and the prefix name should be declare here the tns here, and that thing should be declared here in the schema location. So because these things should be shared, because it's all existing schemas that is pointing from the MuleSoft organization schema. So you should change if you are making any custom names for everything. So change here rather than, because module allows the basic thing. So if you want to change anything, add your prefix, uh, replace your prefix here and replace your prefix name here. So that's how the connector will look, because module allow is the basic thing. If you want to change it, you need to change your custom name here after changing your custom names. So we'll see one by one what are the things available. Meanwhile, if you have any questions, you can ask it. Any questions? I see it doesn't have any questions. Okay, you can put in the chat. I can answer it in between. So if you have any questions, so
1 minute. If anyone has any questions or if you want to speak, we can enable your audio. We can ask. Okay.
okay. Okay, thanks for having. So now see, there are different type of parameters and properties we'll see. So I'll showcase the parallelly how the connectors looks in the UI screen and what are the things that is done in the backend code. So just code connector. So this is the connector basically what what we are trying to implement. This is the code for this connector, ChatGPT connector. So now see, properties is basically, there is two things will be there. uh, Property and is basically operation, and under the operation there is a parameters, and under the parameters there is border. These are three are the different type of things available in the custom XML. Properties basically global properties. So anything you are declaring in the top level, this is the top level. Before starting your implementation, this is the top level. So properties basically the global level properties. So just see, I have declared username and password, so that's how it's populating in the UI in the global elements. So here, if you automatically it will come. So these are the username and password. So anything if you want to declare as a global level configurations, make it defined here in the property level. So that's how you need to declare. First thing, if you want to implement any custom XML SDK, you need to prepare the whole UI screen of our XML our custom connector, and design your architecture properly, and based on our architecture and the design of our UI screen, just you need to try to implement the logic in here. So properties is like global level property. So this how just I've added. Like sometimes if you want to invoke any HTTP requester modules, so in this case, this sharp GPT connectors, basically you see any Salesforce and SAP. So basically they're pointing the backend in the connector, they're invoking the REST services of the Salesforce or any of the SAP service. So then we need to invoke the REST connector, so in the XML SDK connector. So if you want to, because I need to point the REST service inside of the connector using requester. So if you want to invoke that connector, so there are things you need to add it. So XML, this is the namespace schema, you need to add it. So there are a list of namespaces that is available in the MuleSoft thing. So just go and you see these are the namespace. So MuleSoft org.schema slash. So these are the things you can invoke. So what are the things like HTTP or files or JMS, anything if you want to implement your custom implementation, you need to add that with respect to that schema. Now I'm just calling schema of namespace schema of https HTTP. So the HTTP, so I need to give that namespace xml ns and colon HTTP, and you need to give the suffix as the HTTP. So if you change any other name, it will not work. So we need to invoke that namespace schema from the repo, namespace repo. And after that, once you add the HTTP requester module, and you need to add the pom.xml in that custom XML with that dependency. So you need to add which are the connector you're invoking in our implementation. So you need to add the dependency in that custom XML dev kit in that dependencies. So because after you add namespace, if you don't add the dependency, it will not invoke the connector inside our SDK kit. So after that, you can, so everything will be declared as a variables here. So what are the values you are seeing here? So it is passing everything as a variables inside of the code. So this value are entering something. So how to take this value inside the connector? So it will act as a variable here. So anything that you are taking any property, so you can add it as a variable. So it will take inside as a variable. I'll show what the thing. So operation is basically the root file. Root file, see, because in any module, if you add n number of modules, you will able to see, like if you see Microsoft Teams connector. So these are the n number of operation. So operation is like, you can add n number of operation in one XML SDK, because basically one API with a different endpoints. So that's the thing we can easily correlate. So if in a API, if you want to have the different number of endpoints, so same thing in one XML in a SDK kit, you can add n number of operations. So operation, so I'm adding one operation here. So that's why you see only one operation here. If you add it n number of things, you can add it. So after you close this XML tag, you can add one more operation. So parameter, now we start implementing the UI design of the like low like inside of the connector, not in the global level. Global level will complete here in the top level. So parameter is basically you see in the screen here. So inside of the parameters, so parameter is the tag you need to define to see the things here in the inside of the module, not in the global level. So these are the modules I added here. So parameters, so there are different type of like functions available in the parameter. So type is like which type of data you want to take it from the connector, string, number. So it will restrict it, because if you assign string, so if you assign number, so if like people like developers, you are using your connectors trying to give the number, so connector will stop it. So that's how that's the whole concept of type, data type. Order, order is basically you see in the connector what is the level of order. Like if you want to 1 2 3 API key model token, or I want to be token in the first, just you change the order number. So that's how the order number. Optional is like, so you see in the like in the daily usage of for connectors, so some parameters will be in the mandatory field, so you need to give the use as a optional. Optional is like by default connector XML like SDK is the mandatory field. So if you didn't give use equal to optional, so by default like people who are using that connector need to pass that value. So optional, if you provide, it will skip it. Optional mandatory field. Tab, so in the UI screen, if you want to like segregate the number of like input parameters in the particular tabs, so these are the tabs. So in the chat GPT, chart boot, completion, edit image, and these are the under this tab, I need to have the four set of input parameters. So that's how you need to give the tab. So I need these three parameters as one tab. You just mention all these three parameters with tab is equal to completion. So this all three parameters will fall under one tab. So that's how UI screen will and will pop up once we enable the tab. Doc description is basically if you want to give the proper description about the connector. So if any of the people who are using your connector, so just don't know how what is the like operation and parameter, so you need to give the proper description. So the like if you like scroll your mouse to the operation, it will give the proper description. So that's how our MuleSoft connectors people do the docker. So if you see your Mules connector, so they're giving the proper team ID where, so you should give whenever you are developing any custom connectors, you need to give the proper description. So that's how people can understand it. That's a study all the things parameters. So all the things whatever I required, just I've added here. And and one more thing, so if you want to have the list down, so this is all the scroll down like a list of items I need to get it. How need to implement this thing? This is all catalogs. So catalogs you need to implement. So there is a concept in SDK catalogs. So catalog is basically, so once you are developing any catalog, you should give the exact name with the what are the connectors name that there in the catalog. So if you are having any other name, module hyphen hello, and if for any custom name, it should be exactly same hyphen catalog.xml. If you give any other name, custom name with other than this root file, it will not work. So hyphen catalog.xml. So in the catalog.xml, these are the like you create one more folder dot schema, like another folder, and you define with that enum function. So enum function, so if you see here, type is string enum. So you list down all the pick list of all the parameters for this one enum. You define all the things, and this file need to be called here in the catalog. So this is the structure of the catalog. So if I am calling this something like model type, so model type is like this one, I need to call this file. How to call? So you need to give the specific location of this dot dot will be like one step backward. So like how you do in the raml. So two dots is like it will controller will go to, like one step backward, and you be able to find this file, this location, uh, a custom type model dot schema dot json. So you should not like it's because schema is already there, because it's in the same root file. So you should not give all, because if you go one step backward, it will able to find the schema, and in that schema you can able to find this file. So that's how you need to declare your catalog file to that, and you can give your own custom name like catalog name, a model type. So this structure is common format, because this is a JSON structure. Enum structure you need to give. And in the root file you need, because by default type is string number everything, like if you are catalog, you need to give this catalog name like a model type. So that model type should be given here. So here model type, where is it, here. So model type, so if you're giving this model type, so the catalog will be added, and that model will come all these things, so as a list of pick list. So like user can click, like developers can just click it, it will automatically dynamically enter it. So that's how you need to use the concept called catalog. So catalog in the XML SDK. So then that's all your UI, everything is ready, you prepared everything. Then you need to start close this parameter stack. Once the in the it will be inside of the operation, then you need to start implementing of the body is basically actual logic you are trying to implement. So it will not have any of the sub flows everything, so nothing will be there. So only the body will be the actual implementation. In my body I'm just invoking the REST connector of that chat gpt a connector, a REST API I'm just connecting. So there are different endpoints there. So rather than calling different endpoints with the different connector, so why can't we develop one connector, and like developers directly can enter that operation as a operation endpoint directly here. It will call all the background in the thing. So that's how the logic I have built. So I just given the operation as one parameter here. So from this I'm just taking the API endpoint by the like operation parameter, and just I'm calling all the things from the HTTP requester module. These are the same requester module you use in the normal flows, just the same template in the HTTP. Just I'm passing that path. So this path is coming from the, if the people is clicking the ask chat gpt, I'm calling this completion endpoint. So you implement all the logic here. I just implemented everything logic here, and I done error handling and methods, because we have both endpoints, both methods, get method and post method. So rather than calling different endpoint as a different connectors, so based on that operation, I'm just calling with respect to the model like method dynamically from this here. So this is all. So batch dot operation, so as I told, every parameter, every property will be called as a vars variable inside of the module in our SDK. So if you want to, because people enter your model model type here from the connector, so I need to take the value, and I need to implement the my logic. So var start operation is the value, you can take it, everything is a var start. So every parameter, every property is the var start, so it will be saved inside the var, and you can call it. So it will be dynamically assigned here. And method same thing, you can check it everything, you can understand, you can, if you have any doubts. So MuleSoft is already given the lot of custom implementation GitHub connectors, so you can go and check it. There are different concepts available, you can try it your own implementations. So body is the body of our HTTP requester mod body, you need to pass it. This is how we need to you need to add our all implementation logics everything. And headers, everything headers you need to pass it. So API key I need to pass it for that API call. So just pass it. And that's how I need to get the payload, output payload from the, so I need to be every endpoint will have different responses. So I need to be, my connector should be a unified format. So I just modified and simplified in the unified format. We have like like 7 to 8 different endpoints here calling in the single connector. So all these things should be come in the standard response format. So these are the operations, that is, these are the different endpoints here, these are different operations. So every model, every endpoint should be a unified format. So that's how you can implement in the response body. You just use the set payload, and here you can implement your own logic here. This is how I just developed all the logic. You can try and check it everything. So detail you can understand. So output, that's it. Operation is closed. So this module tag is, if you add one more operation, you just want add one more operation, and you can try anything. So just you can play around all these things. So this is, if you want to try, Java SDK is also there. So it's up to you. So it's not like XML SDK. So Java SDK is there. So both are easy, you can try it. So I check it both. So if you want to check it Java SDK, so there is a documentation provided, you can check it. So my connector, my UI template, my logic, everything is ready. Now I need to publish my this connector to my organization exchange. If you are implementing your own connector in our organization, so people who are using your organization, because it's not public. So if you want to add in our organization, so if you want to make it public, and you need to take the enterprise license from the MuleSoft, you need to take some license implementation, and you need to because MuleSoft will validate your connector and will give the licensing for that connector. So once you add all the logic, everything, and one more thing I forgot to say. So most important is like icon. So how is, like, if you are if you want to implement your organization icon to that connector, so you need to go and use this folder inside of the src, like inside of the root file. You need to add one more folder like icon under your target or src. So you should be same, you should not keep any other place icon, and you should keep icon.svg. Svg is like scalar vector graphic image format. So you should not, this is the recommended, this is the like uh, other than this, you give any other format, it will not work. Icon.svg is the format you need to give. So it should be a minimum size, it should not be a big size, it should be a like 100 into 100 pixel. So you add it, you will get your icons enable, because by default you will not get any icon. If you want to add any icon, you go and create one more folder, like it should be like this. So it should be icon in your connector. So it should root file. So and that you add icon.svg. If you add other place, it will not work. And the name should not be changed. So you should not change your custom name. It should be always icon.svg. So once you've done all these things, so now I need to exchange, I need to export my connector to my exchange. So you need to add the distribution management. So this is the distribution management for maven. And so you need to replace your organization ID in this distribution snapshot repository management. So you just add it here, and exchange to you can give. So this ID should be come here in our settings.xml. Uh, here in the settings.xml, here. So you need to add your server ID, and you name and password. Just this is my username, like organization ID. So you need to replace your settings, your username password in the settings.xml under your server. You add your ID, and you give that exact name in the exchange ID in that distribution management, and replace your organization ID here and here, two places, and top level in the pom.xml in that graph group ID. And that's it. You make it properly, set all these things and run. So just I'm adding version, because you will update the version. So how, that's how you see, right? Any of the connectors you drag it, you see upgrade of the connector. So same thing, if you are, so make it proper versions. So this or versions is basically you see any updates happen in the connectors. So those things you need to properly. And this ChatGPT, this name, custom name is coming from here in the connector module. Just the operation name is coming from the here chat gpt. It's like it's a it's a like space notated characters will come here. So once you done everything, so just go and run the command. You add the distribution man, You run the command and we can clean deploy. If you add any because by default it will give m units, just skip it, or if you add it you write the m units. So if everything is ready, you set everything properly. uh, Now you go and see it in the exchange in your organization, so you will able to find your connector, custom connector ready in our exchange. So so this is, so now I've exported with the 4.0.7 version. So now it will, once you it it will download all these things and it will upload your connector to the exchange. If you done any mistakes it will throw, or any if you are giving any wrong username and password in our settings.xml under exchange server, or you are giving any wrong organization id, it will give some 404 for like 403 forbidden error something. So build is success, it is exported to the exchange. So now see it's updated now. You are able to drag it, this connector 4.0.7 version. So just you can download this updated connector from directly here. So it will update because it's 4.4.0. Now it will be updated with the 4. Just 4.4.7. If you've done any mistakes, so it will throw error. So this how, see now now I changed my icon, so it will come as a different icon. So now let's see what are the operations that is there, and how the chat gpt things is there. I will run this connector. I'll run this project. So I've added all this model. I've added all the logics we are implemented, like images, chart completion, embeddings, list of mod. So one thing is like this is all not different connectors, only one connector with all the operation here. And the thing is like API key. So password, if you want to add it like this, any password, if you want to add anything like hide your things. So in the chat GPT connector, like in our implementation, you need to add parameter as a password. So that's how the things will come in the hiding of your things. So API key. So API key I need to enable. So you need to use this keyword password equal to true. If you add it like this, password equal to true, you will and will disable the things. So that's how you see in the connectors, like any database passwords, anything. So this screen is coming from here in the function called password equal to true. So just pass it your API key, and I've added one by one. So first thing is like create completion. So ask ChatGPT I have just added for this call that particular endpoint and model. So for this model, these are the operation you need, like list model you need to pass text devancy 003. So these are the uh, model which is supported for this create completion endpoint. So token, as I told, if you're giving more tokens means you are consuming more data. So if you want to shorten your data from the chat gpt, you need to reduce your tokens, because end of the day you are consuming more tokens means your cost is increasing. So that's how the things. So for this operation archer user completion, I need to pass payload dot chat gpt, because that is standard I kept it. So you just add the chat gpt like payload dot chat gpt, everything as a standard. So chart for this endpoint you just boot payload dot system and everything. So once it is run, I'll execute the things one by one. Chat
Right, there is a question. Have you looked into that?
sorry, I didn't
There is
see.
a question from Ruchi.
That is a purpose of catalog file, can you please repeat it? Yeah, so catalog. So I think, yeah, yeah, Ruchira, yeah, this is like catalog is basically, as I told, like you want any list of pick lists. So that's how this is it. See, this is our catalog. So if I want to add any pick list like operations, I need to add these are the mode pick list. So you need to keep that particular things in the catalog. So these are models. So I need to add models is a pick list format. So that's how in the screens also, you in the normal connectors you see the drop down like this something. You come across all those things in the daily uses. So those things if you want to implement, you need to implement catalog. So catalog concept you need to drag. So catalog, and you implement the schema look file. What are the things you need to keep in the enum will give the array of catalog here, and make it type as string because everything you are taking as string. So you call this catalog here inside of your location because this is standard. If in catalog you can have xml schema and json schema. You can go anything, and you can give your catalog name. uh, if you are implementing xml and just application slash xml, and just that's it. You give your type as that catalog name here, so it will be applicable here. So got it. Yeah, okay, fine. Just executed the my connector charge. So just it. I'll run one by one here. So ChatGPT. So one first thing is like this is a connector. ChatGPT. So ask ChatGPT. So like what is the capital of India? Just I'm running Mule GPT here. Uh, so now in this endpoint, I'm just calling ChatGPT. Ask ChatGPT is like create completion. API key I'm passing. Model I'm passing, and my input is passing from payload.chatgpt. So it will go. So it will come. So as I told, this is a standard output structure. I kept it Mule chart gpt. Every endpoint will give the standard. So like that's how. If you want to edit any images, so you need to go and take that edit image. So if you want to modify any of your text anything, just give operation as edit, and give that model because every model will have call the different. So just give that pasta, fix the spelling mistake whatever the. So it because I didn't make it dynamically, but you can make it dynamically payload dot this thing. And I'm just telling the fix the spelling mistake because here weak is spelling is wrong. So I need to fix it. So see, it will generate the proper spelling. If you want to add any like if you are writing any some like article anything, just if you want to check the your proper thing or not, just you can use this endpoint. And images, you can have images. So images will have the supported format. Pixel just this is again the catalog. So these are supported pixel format. So and there is a two different type of parameters you can pass it, base 64 and url. I'll show what is the thing. So you need to create image create. These are all custom names I have just given. So just go and execute image url. So just indian flag, I just add it. So image url will give the image format. So it will it will give the link to give it. So just copy. So this particular endpoint will give the image of that. And if you want to download any of the file in the in our local thing, you need to give the base 64 format. So base 64 format. So it just image create model is Devancy 003 for this image formats. And this will come on the whisper model, and you need to pass your image payload and base 64 now. This is again the catalog base 64, and how many number of images you need to get it. So and pixel size, and just I'm saving in the one file location in my local file. So here uh, so in my meetup just I've given on file image. So just see this how image will come. This is the image. So if you want to download directly in flag from the base, so it will be downloaded for this endpoint and will be saved into the file. So in the file location. here it will be shared. So it will be, so this is base 64. So this is the image format, so you will able to see yes in the base. So you can add all the custom modules. So I'm trying to add it more logics and more parameters here. And because audios is also have implemented, I'm trying to import the file connectors and try to take the input as a audios, and you can convert the audios into the text. So those points also, just make it one connector and you make it like standard to use it for the all the operations. So that's how all the different and models have just added, you can execute it. And chartboot. So this how the difference between chartboot and the create completion. Create completion is like only will give the one-to-one communication. Chart boot is like this how we need to integrate in the like in the Microsoft Teams. So next thing will be seen. So now we see first thing is like system will prompt it one first is role is like system is like this how you see in the boots. So you see in the normal any websites, so in the help desk they'll ask it, thank you, how can I help it. So these are the first thing. So second thing is like you need to give the user input. So now I'm giving the user input as a chart. So who won the world series in 2021 2020. So it will give as the Los Angeles won the World Series in 2000. So now I need to see the uh, where was it played. So in the chart completion, you need to execute the thread one by one. You need to give it. So it will understand where it is played means. So it is already there in the thread. So that particular A can understand the conversation which is going onto the thread. So now if you ask it where it is played in the create completion, this endpoint cannot able to understand. This endpoint is somewhat different. This is a one way one to one communication. So if you want to any add it, just it will tell you. So because it's the thread is going on one by one. So see it will tell. Now come to Teams, Microsoft Teams. So this is our interesting part. So now I need to add this connector, this project completely to the execution in the Microsoft Teams. So these are the one project I just implemented my own interest. So Microsoft, first thing, anything you want to integrate, like till now, any questions you have, you can ask it. I think you don't have any questions. Okay. So, okay, I'll show now how to integrate the Microsoft Teams with the ChatGPT. So now in like you need to go over Microsoft Azure portal. In the Azure portal, you need to create one application. So just go and app registrations. You create one application, one application, connected app. You give all the single tenant. This is my test account. Just I created a test account. Callback URL, everything is optional. And Microsoft is giving the graph service. So graph service is like you can call the teams. So graph service is the like a, it's a big service that is providing by like Microsoft. You can connect any of the systems in Microsoft world using the graph service, Microsoft graph. So micro Teams is the one of the part you can connect. So they're giving n number of API endpoints to connect any of the Microsoft family using Microsoft graph. So to connect that, you need to create one API connected app in our Microsoft Azure. So once you create it, uh, you need to give the permissions for that particular endpoint. So every service will have the different type of permissions. You can go and check it. So read write permissions and all the which permissions you need to add, give that particular connected app, you can give it. And after that, just you give the all the permissions, it will generate the client ID and client secret, and the tenant ID it will generate. So here I'll show it. So these are the tenant ID. So use this tenant ID This is the token. You use the tenant ID slash token, and you pass the client grant type as a client credentials, client ID, and client ID will get it here. Client ID. This is a client ID, and this is a client secret. So client secret, it will be generated when you create it. Just copy and paste it in the notepad, because once you save it, it will not be visible. So client secret will be generated, and you pass it, and you pass the scopes. So you can pass it default scopes, or if you want to add any custom scopes like read scopes and write scopes, you can add it, and it will generate the token. The token will be validated for the 24 hours. So now I need to call the Microsoft Teams. So there are the REST APIs that is provided. So so if you just I implemented simple, because Microsoft Teams connector is already there, but they're not providing the like that particular endpoint. So this connector doesn't have that to call that particular endpoint. So those operations is not provided is like on this connector. So to call that Teams channel of that particular messages, those things is not there. So just I've added one more module to create one connector to call that particular service. So this is a project. I'll share this project. I'll write the blog it and I'll share it. So here in the configuration XML I've added. So now I've told it, right, there are two things available: Ask ChatGPT and the chatbot is like this is a complex, so you need to iterate the thread of messages in one by one. So your logic need to implement this thread in our implementation of the logic. So this is straightforward, just one by one. So two projects are implemented. One is creation completion, and this is like chatbot. So chatbot I have implemented some logic like parallel. I'll run it first, I'll and show it. So this is my Microsoft Teams, and just created two channels in the Teams. So chat completion and chatbot, and you go and get link, click link, you will get channel ID. This is the channel ID. This is the channel ID, and this is the group ID. You need to provide to for that particular API. You need to call that particular messages in the channel. So group ID and the channel ID. So both things, because I've added two projects here, two projects to implement two logics here in the same project. Scheduler I've added because you need to read the messages from that particular channel every second. So I just kept it like 3 seconds. So every 3 seconds it will go and check the any messages is there in the particular channel. First thing is like you'll get all the messages in the channel, and it will process to parallelly. I need to process the parallel because n number of messages will be thrown by the users. So just I'll run this project. I'll just add it, uh, close all. So once I run it, I'll show it all the logic what I've implemented. So now there is two endpoints. So chartboot and the create command. So this chartboot endpoint is what you see in the UI screen of the chat GPT, because this how your conversations is going on with the one-to-one in the chat. So this is chartboot, chart completion. It's not like create completion. So I'll ask you the same question here: who won the ICC men world, or I'll add it questions here: who won the FIFA World Cup 2000, like 2014 something. You can ask because 2021 is the latest data. So just chartboot, you just ask it who won the. It's running the project. So you can ask it in the create completion. This is like I've added the list of users, so I just added one user here. for this one. So two accounts are just created. Chart completion is the capital city of Norway. So now once the project is run, a scheduler triggers, it will go graph service. It will pass all messages payload, and the tokens will be passed here from the tokens. So IPA dot token. So you need to run the every 24 hours. You need to run the token. You save somewhere and you just pass the token in the a particular module or in our REST connector or in the simple connector. So to make it easy, just I've added one connector here because there are different endpoints in the graph service. So just I added it. So all the messages will be called from that particular connector, from the particular graph service from the Teams channel. It will process one by one parallelly, and it will pass it, and it will go to the chat GPT, and after that it will take the data from chat GPT for that particular call. If you are calling chat GPT and you need to use the chat GPT boot, and you need to post it into the Microsoft Teams. So see, that's how. So now it is executing the things. So just have added the capital city of Norway is Oslo. So if you are adding, I just this is like a thing I need to add. The FIFA World Cup was won by Germany. So now I'm asking where it is played. So now it is you can understand the thread because I'm passing this thread as a iteration of the thread. See, Falco was played in. So who is the runner up this match? See, I'll give the so you can execute n number of threads. So this is the exact replica of the things that you're seeing in the here. This is the same endpoint, the same logic. You are trying to execute the things in the iteration of the thread in our logic. So in the logic we need to implement everything. So segregation of, because you should not be send the prompt that is giving. So the chat gpt is giving the response, you should not be sent again to the chat gpt, you need to break the thread. So only which is giving by the user, so those things you need to pass it. So here if I ask something, who is who is where is it located, it is it cannot understand it. So because this is create completion chart, this chart completion is like create completion. So you need to ask one more separate thread. So where it is, where where the Norway is located, Oslo is located. So you need to ask like this. You can add data views, you can anything you can. So so here you can, this how this threads will not be reiterated. So something I think we given the shorter threads. So I think I'll refresh it. Okay, so I'll add one more question here. So who won the ICC World Cup men 2011? So now this will be in the conversation mode. So this how. See, Indian game. So if these threads will be run, so that's how your chat GPT works. So here, so that's how these people are saving here, because if you are saving means the thread you need to iterate one by one. So like who is where it is played, it is played. So now I'm going. So I'm going to ask to like run in this thread itself. So I need to ask it like who is the man of the match? So this how hard GPT works. So see, this is because that's how we need to run parallelly all the threads at a time. So that's how I need to implement parallel for each. So this is
Sai,
how, yeah,
one question from me.
yeah.
Can you go back to the chat that you showed? Who won the
This one,
World Cup
yeah,
2014? No, the first initial chat.
yeah,
Okay. Now, if I edit here,
yeah.
right click and edit to 2015, what will happen?
So I think it's okay. This we can edit.
Yeah.
This
Okay.
edit
I think
stuff.
edit is there in our.
Okay. We can do it. We can implement
So
that
what will
and
happen if the chat GPT or rather our mule will pick up that change, which is
see,
updating
yeah,
our.
yeah. See, what I implement that logic is like uh
Mhm.
only only parameters that is not coming with the mule chart gpt, because I need to segregate the responses. So the
Mhm.
keyword mule chart gpt, because otherwise the thread will run in the
Right.
infinite loop. So
Right.
you need to have the parameters. So that's how this will come into the normal logger, so else condition. So
Okay.
so I need to add the keyword to differentiate between the normal response and the people
Chat
who are
GPT.
giving the chat gpt. So that's
Okay.
how. So this will come into the else loop and it will not go to the, because if you didn't segregate again it will go chat gpt, it will run in
Mhm.
the infinite loop. So that's how you need to segregate the logic here in the after
So
parallel for each you
that
need to.
which means when I'm adding a new question, I need to ask mule chat GPT colon and then
Yeah,
question, right?
yeah. So this is
After
like chat
asking the
gpt.
question,
Chat
uh,
gpt colon is giving by chat gpt. So
okay,
those things you should not again pass to chat gpt. You need to uh,
okay.
close that response to the default condition
No, my
only.
question is after passing a question and after receiving an answer, if I
Yeah,
go and change the question,
again it will go because again because this is a parallel, right? So parallel
huh,
for each. So
which means the existing answer, the new answer will be a new
yeah,
addition to the chat. Okay,
correct,
I get
correct,
it.
correct. So
Okay,
that's how
great.
parallelly all these threads will go run, because
Hmm.
this is one loop, this is one loop, and all runs will run at, because graph service all messages will take at a time all the threads from here. One, how many threads you are running, same thing like you uh, created here. Like if you are creating one more new chat gpt is like one more thread. So
Okay,
parallel per each will split. First will
understood.
take all message and so
In
create
order to incorporate, yeah, in
yeah,
order to incorporate that within corporate teams,
yeah,
okay, so we need to have certain licensing or admin privileges in this.
yeah. This is like in the graph service you need to take that microsoft graph service and you can integrate this thing. So
Okay,
just
great.
you need to add that like read write permissions to execute this project.
Okay, got
Yeah,
it. Thank you.
yeah. Yeah, that's all about my side. You any questions you can ask it.
Hi,
Uh,
everyone. I think we overrun time by 14 minutes, but that's totally fine. We are all involved so much, even I didn't see the time. Thank
yeah,
you, Sai, running
yeah.
this through, and it's very useful. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
yeah, sure, sure. Like if you have any questions, you can just ask me in LinkedIn. I can help it to implement any a project. And one more thing, if you have any new ideas, you just come up with the organizers. So we'll run this series in ChatGPT in our like Oslo group. So it's not end. So because it's not like Microsoft Teams, you can come up with any new ideas. So we can build up and continue this series in our group as a
Yeah.
learning purpose. And yeah, I'll write the detail blog and I'll share it LinkedIn. You can check it, and I'll share the code, everything in the my GitHub repository. And I think next week I'll share the blog detail thing, because of the time I cannot explain everything here. I'll write the blog, detailed blog.
Yeah. Thank you, Sai. Thanks for
Thank
your
you,
time.
sir. Thank you,
Thank you,
Murali.
everyone, for
Yeah,
joining.
yep.
Bye.
Thanks. Yeah, bye.
Thank